Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming on board. My name is Jessica Kalombo. I'm your host. Today we are closing on the topic of history of Africans together with Mr. Ishmael Akwe, who has been joining us all the way from Accra in Ghana. Let us hear what he has to say again today. Thank you.
As one Africa, what message would you share with all African nations in a way to promote unity and eliminate the xenophobic practices among and within the African nations? Because within and among us as Black African people, there's a lot of xenophobic, practices. We can't talk about we can't talk to those because their tribe or their country or their origins is not the same with us, and we even go to the extent of killing each other, destroying each other. So what would be your message in a way to, bring that African nations, the African unity, which is in Swahili we say umoja, which is, the unity of Africa? What would be your message?
Well, Africa has been beautifully created to have, tens of thousands of tribes, thousands of languages, and so many differences. However, our differences, thanks to the colonizers, have been put in boundaries and barriers. So with these barriers, that's where you say, well, this is not my brother. That person doesn't speak my language, so it's different. It's because the barriers have already been created mentally. The barriers have been created in such a way that we see our differences more than our similarities. But we need to break those barriers. If I come to South Africa and you see me as your African brother, I don't think you'll be saying, well, you're coming to steal from my hard work, or you're coming to benefit from the taxes that my country is getting, so I don't need you here. You see me as somebody who is like you, trying to develop myself and the continent. It all has to do with the mindset, because right now we are all divided, and the division is killing us. So to solve this issue, it has to take our leaders in authority, our governments, our policymakers, MPs, to come together and build a more inclusive policy that is going to include those in the diaspora, those in other African countries, and not rather deepen the differences that we have between ourselves. Because the differences are being deepened language-wise, are being deepened in terms of departments and even constituencies and areas. So you go into one region, in every African country, there's just one region, you find so many divisions. And these divisions are based on Western modules. So with the West, you realize that they have this whole system of, breaking down the government into structures, so that there will be, it could be governable without corruption and everything. We had our own systems. We had our own systems where we had chiefs who were representing the leaders. We had sub-chiefs who were representing other people, but chiefs represent lands, they represent communities. They don't say, well, you don't belong to my land, so you should be out of my land. No, we welcomed each other. If one person of a tribe goes to another tribe or another community, the person is welcomed historically. But right now, if you go to other communities, due to the Western systems, you'll be asked, where is your ID? Where is your visa? You need a visa to enter somewhere. But traditionally, we didn't need visas to go anywhere. And when you go somewhere, you go and pay homage. You respect the chief. You say, hey, I'm here. I'm from this community, and I'm here to do trade. It's okay. When is the market day? This is the market day. Do your trade there. And after you thank the community and you leave. So the community sees you as part of them. But with the Western system, you are not part of any community. You need to even pay to be able to enter into another community. And those barriers are killing us. So that's where we have our problem. If we're able to break it, then that's the way forward for us.
So true. That's so true. That is so true. Thank you so much again for just coming through and undertaking this interview. You've shared quite a lot, and I do believe the lessons and the knowledge that I've gained today isn't just going to work for me because of this channel, but it's going also to work for those who are also going to be watching this video. And what I'm hoping for everyone else also out there to learn, it is just to come back to ourselves, to try to understand our origin. doing and who are we and how we can unite again together in a way to learn from others and understand exactly that we are just one nation, one people, one continent. And I think with that mindset, as you said also, the mindset, our mindset is so corrupt. We have a such corrupted mindset that at times we are enemies of ourselves. You know, we fight with ourselves without even being aware of that. So just speaking of all those and everything that we've said now, do you perhaps have few names of African heroes who stood also for the unity of Africa, who had done the same battle, even more than what we're doing now, in a way to unite Africa, which you may share also with others who are doing it now?
Yes, so there was a time in African history where we could, the continent could have been free from all these vices we are facing, but we let that opportunity go. And let me take the viewers through this time in history. In 1958, a year after Ghana gained independence from Britain, and Ghana was the first African country, black African country below the Sahara to gain independence in 1957. In 1958, the president of Ghana then, Kwame Nkrumah, he organized the first Pan-African All-African People's Conference in that year in Accra. So we had a lot of leaders coming into the country, and these leaders include the Egyptian president, Julius Nyerere, the president of Tanzania, and also other leaders. So at that meeting, Nkrumah pushed the idea that Africa should be one country. So basically, we should come together and unite so that we could help other countries in the continent that have not gained independence, so they could also gain independence and join the union. So we create the United States of Africa. So this idea started since then. So many people believed in it. Gamal Abdel Nasser, the president of Egypt, the second president of Egypt, he believed in it too. Julius Nyerere believed in it. And they thought, well, let's go ahead with this. And the leaders of Algeria, that's Ahmed Ben Bella, Secretary of Guinea, Morocco's leader, Mali's leader at the time, they all believed in this. And this thinking, this ideology was brought to bear at the second All-African People's Conference, which was held in Addis Ababa in 1961. And the conference was supposed to discuss the unity, a United States of Africa. And this conference was organized by Ethiopia's leader, Haile Selassie at the time. So there was another bloc which was opposing the United States of Africa. And this bloc is made of the leader of Senegal, that's Leopold Sedar Senghor, and then the leader of Nigeria at the time, Liberia, and Ethiopia, that's Haile Selassie himself. So they were called the Monrovia bloc because they had a meeting in Monrovia where they thought, no, it's too sudden for Africa to unite. And then the Casablanca bloc, which is made up of Kwame Nkrumah, Gamal Abdel Nasser, Julius Nyerere, and then the leaders of Algeria, Guinea, Sekou Touré, Morocco, and Mali, also thought, no, let's do it now. So they came together at a meeting, which was organized by Haile Selassie in Ethiopia after the second Pan-African All-African People's Conference. And at that meeting, the discussion was to vote on whether Africa should be a united state. And the reason was, if we are united, we're going to break all these barriers. We're going to hold on to our languages. We're going to decide how Africa would progress. And we're going to build a more social community where people would not have to be paying for healthcare. People will have free education. People can have food to eat. And all these ideologies, they are things that the West is doing. Europe is doing that. The Americans, they are doing that. But Africa alone is behind because Africa is divided into so many little countries. And unfortunately for us, the bloc that was against the United States of Africa, they voted and won at that conference in Ethiopia. And they claimed that they wanted a unity which will be done gradually for Africa to come together. And they are saying that the continent should remain a continent of independent states. However, they want to look at the economic cooperation first before we could come to a more political cooperation where we would have a single head with so many other people ruling like you find in the EU. In the EU, there's a president of the European Union. There are other presidents of other countries. However, they come together with their resources to build each other. So this is something that we failed to do in 1961. And in 1963, the first OAU conference happened. That's the Organization of African Unity. And this was done in Addis Ababa, where they did not accept the United States of Africa and wanted it to be gradual. But we had another chance in Accra here. That's in, I think, 2006, where we had the African Union Conference, which was the first one after OAU name was changed to African Unity. So the African Unity Conference was held in Accra, where Mugabe and Gaddafi, presidents of Zimbabwe and Libya, unfortunately they're all out, but the two of them were proponents of the United States of Africa, and they brought it up during that conference in 2006 in Accra. And unfortunately for us, again, they didn't vote for it. They thought, well, it is too soon, and that is better we have a government that is rather focused on economic integration. So we should take it gradually. And since then, they formed some groups that were supposed to fight or work towards a United States of Africa, but it never happened. These groups failed, and to date, we don't know what happened to the groups, and there's no discussion about a United States of Africa, even though, yes, recently they launched the Africa Free Trade Corridor or the Free Trade Agreement, which is based or headquartered in Ghana. So with this free trade, we're supposed to be an economic bloc, but it's not even really performing as is expected. The barriers are still there. I can't move to Togo without paying bribe at the border. I can't move to other African or West African countries without paying money, without showing some ID, even though I'm African. So this is how bad it is. And I think the future is really not clear. But hopefully changes would come. And hopefully we'll see a united Africa.
Thank you so much for all the details that you've shared today. Thank you so much for the knowledge that we have gained from you. And I do believe that we will still find a way for us to come together and for us to also rebuild again our Africa as one continent, as one place for one land of one nation. So with that said, we have come at the end of our interview, and taking again this opportunity to say thank you so much again for coming through.
Thank you very much, and good luck on the agenda of bringing Africa together and also promoting the cultures and history of Africa.
Viewers, thank you so much to all my viewers. I hope you have heard, you have learned. Today was actually a close-up on our topic, the history of Africa, together with Mr. Ishmael Akwe, who had been joining us all the way from Accra in Ghana, and he have shared such a beautiful talk, a beautiful wisdom. He have shared a lot, and I hope that you and I have taken some of the knowledge that will help us in building our future nations, our future generations, our future Africa. Thank you so much. I thank all of you who have joined us on this topic, and don't forget to like and subscribe my video and even share with others in a way to create more awareness and educate our nation. Until then, catch me in the next topic where we will talk about more of our African values. Thank you. Bye.